Hey bag ladies and bag dudes, I'm Sarah Lawson from So Sweetness. Thanks so much for joining me for Ask Sarah, my weekly Q&A chat. Hey everybody, hope you're having a wonderful Tuesday evening. Thanks so much for joining me for Ask Sarah. I see Terry's watching. Ligaya, Montana Wendy, Clovis is watching from Indiana, so thanks everybody so much for joining me. As you may have noticed, Danny is missing tonight. He's feeling a little bit under the weather. He's still running the controls over there. He went a little bit overboard with his Cyber Monday shopping, so he's going through withdrawal. He's laughing and shaking his head. No, he really was not feeling well, so it's just me tonight. Violet was thinking about joining me, and then at the last minute she changed her mind, so just me on here tonight. I just wanted to show a few postcards and cards and a few little fun things that you all have been sending me for my birthday, and then I'll answer some questions live at the end of the show as always. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for being part of this community. I feel like even though we haven't met in person, I feel like you guys are all not just my bag ladies and bag dudes, but my friends. And it was funny because I got an email yesterday from a viewer in my hometown of Des Plaines, Illinois, which is a suburb of Chicago. She said that her three sons went to high school, the same high school that I went to. She said perhaps that I knew them or remembered them, and I'm not sure how much older or younger that they were than I was at the time, but I thought it kind of made me laugh thinking about high school because I said, maybe I knew your sons, but maybe not, because in high school I only had about 3 friends, so that's not even an exaggeration. I just didn't have that many friends in high school or college. I had a hard time connecting with people, especially people who had different interests than I did, and I'm not good at small talk, so that's why I'm so glad for this community, because I feel like we all fit in here. We all get along, and I finally have tons of friends, so thanks for being part of the community. So let me just show you a few things that people have been sending for my birthday, because I've gotten some amazing gifts. First off, this little stuffed lizard that I was showing in the intro, Charlie McDonald made this for me. We love this already. We just got it a couple days ago in the mail, and already our bearded dragon has sort of claimed it. Violet wants to take it to bed every night, and I feel like it's half mine and half Violet's and half Flash's, which is our bearded dragon, but it came out amazing. He made it with minky fabrics, and it's super cute, so we love it. I'm going to jump over to the side camera and show you some of the postcards I got and some of the other little gifts. Okay, so speaking of Charlie, besides making the lizard, Charlie also made me this amazing postcard. He said he was not able to find an actual postcard from New London, so he made one. And it's just amazing, this piecing, and what a great combination of gifts. So here's some of the other postcards that I received in the last, I would say, week. I went to the postal box yesterday, and I love this Don't Mess with Texas. That's really funny. This one's got actual confetti on the inside of the card that moves around. And it was just really interesting and rewarding to see where everyone's from. I've gotten some postcards from around the world. So I really appreciate you all. So that's why I wanted to show the postcards on the show. And I also got a postcard from a gentleman. He and his wife, it was Dean, he and his wife watched the show. And so I got a postcard from Dean, which I thought was really fun. He said he's not a bag dude yet, but he said he's working on it. Here's one of my international postcards. I got some of the cards along with the gifts as well, but I put them all in one stack for showing on the show. Violet super loved this one with the armadillo on it. And I got a few of the birthday cards too. I love this sparkly unicorn one. And all right, so I wanted to show a few of the gifts. So Becky made me this tiny little purse, the smallest purse that I've ever seen. It's super cute. And I love that it's in Tula Pink fabric as well, because of course she's my favorite. Let's see, Carol sent me, I think Violet thought this was going to be for her, but Carol sent me this painted pony to work on. And I think I'm going to claim this one for myself because I'm already imagining different fabric themed designs that I can scrawl over it. So this was really fun, and Carol sent me a couple of cards, one from Colorado where she's from. Sara made me this beautiful bow, and I think we're going to put it on our tree this year because it kind of gives me that tree trimming vibe. Pam made me these amazing zippered pouches on her embroidery machine. I didn't show this one to Violet yet because I have a feeling if I do, she'll come and snatch it from me, but I'm going to kind of sneak it away in my sewing room and fill it with some supplies before Violet notices. Catherine made me this amazing fabric postcard. I think I might be holding it upside down.
Upside down now.
It's
upside down.
That's upside down? Okay, thank you, Denny.
Top says card
Okay, thank you. This is amazing. I love this. I can't wait to hang it on the wall in my sewing room. Stephanie sent me, as my birth year is the year of the rooster, she sent me this as well as a little trinket from Singapore. So I thought that was really fun. Stephanie currently lives in Kalamazoo, so that's what the postcard is that she sent me. Katie Baker made me this leather quilted postcard, which is super awesome. Terry Yorksey made this amazing sewing kit for me. And Terry told me that she actually made this stone in the middle in her kiln, which I thought was really cool. This is like a work of art. Just beautiful. All right, so Angie made this awesome accessories kit with a key fob and little card pouches, just really cool. Something I can hook onto my chargers, and I just really love these. And I got a pot holder from Cecile. Cecile lives in Virginia, so she sent me a couple things from Virginia, which is awesome. My friend Terry made me this paper piece. Terry knows that I wear Converse shoes a lot. She made these paper piece Converse shoes in tulip pink fabrics. Love that. Of course, going on my sewing room wall. And Virginia's a painter, and she sent me this painting that she's made, and it's a scene from, I'm a horse lover, so I grew up reading the books, Misty of Chincoteague and all those others. So this is a scene of wild horses on Assateague Island. So Violet's read the books also, so I feel like this is a really great thing that we can hang either in my room or Violet's room, and there's a lot of memories definitely connected to this artwork. So thank you so much, everybody. Oh, one more. I have, Leanne is trying to get me to move to Carson Valley. So Leanne sent me not only a postcard, a few postcards, but also a visitor's guide and all sorts of information about Carson Valley, Nevada. So I thought that was really interesting. I actually started looking through these, and it looks like a really fun place to visit. So thank you everybody so much who sent postcards, gifts. It definitely made me feel super special, and like I said at the beginning of the show, you know, going from having like 3 friends in high school to now having so many friends, all of you out there, I really feel special, and this has been probably one of the best birthdays ever. Donna says, hi Sarah, do your socks fit? Yes, they do fit. They were the correct size. Thank you so much. I've been wearing them in the evenings because I definitely like to be toasty, especially once I start getting tired and I read my book in the evening. So thank you so much, Donna. That was an awesome gift. Yeah, thank you. I feel like I'm turning red. It's I don't often get showered with so many gifts, but I really appreciate all of you so much. So thank you. So if you have a question for me, let me know in the comments, either a sewing related question, bag making related, a question about a tool. Let me know in the comments. I'll answer as many as I can live. Trisha says, question, what are the measurements for zipper tabs? I've watched a few videos and it never specifically states what they are. A few of us are struggling with them. So for my zipper tabs, I generally start with a piece of fabric that's 3 inches by 1.5 inches because I feel like the 1.5 inch width will fit most sizes of zippers, from a number 3 zipper to handbag zipper. And then I just press those kind of like double fold bias tape. So that's the general go-to size that I use for making the zipper tabs. Again, it's 3 inches by 1.5 inches. Suzanne says, Sarah, you have received such beautiful gifts. I'd love for you to post a list of those that made the gifts to see if they have a shop to sell. Some of them are must-haves. Oh, that's a great idea. I know some of them do For instance, Virginia has an Etsy shop. Virginia made that artwork from the ponies on Assateague Island. I definitely will. Perhaps I'll post it in the Facebook group if that's okay. And I'll just, yeah, a few of the people did mention that they had shops or that they were selling things. Donna says, did you get the oil pen in? We do have those oil precision pens in stock. Let me grab mine over here to show you what it looks like. Here we go. So this is what the oiler pen looks like. It's got kind of a ballpoint tip. There's a cap that unscrews, and this is what dispenses the oil. So every time you click this at the top, it dispenses 1 drop of oil, and it's handy for hard to reach places or when you want to be precise when you're distributing the oil, when you're oiling your sewing machine or serger or any other machine. Donalyn says, how about designing a tote bag for the Instant Pot? Oh, that's a good idea. I can imagine, especially for the holidays, people need to take the Instant Pot if they've cooked something for a holiday dinner and they're visiting. So I have not thought of that, but let me add that to my list. Instant Pot. Becky says, Sarah, do you drink coffee or tea? I actually don't. Neither Danny or I drink coffee, which I know sounds really shocking. We don't even have a coffee maker in the house, but I do like to drink tea. My favorite is chamomile tea, and I like my tea with honey. Patricia says, have you ever had your Juki lose the bobbin thread when automatic cutting? What fixes it? Lose the bobbin thread. I actually don't think I have, but I know everyone that watches, we have a lot of geniuses in the mix, so if anyone has a tip, if that's happened to them before, let us know in the comments, either on Facebook or YouTube, and if Danny notices a comment like that coming through, he'll post it on the screen, I'm sure. Sheila says, do you have any recommendations for a hemming foot? I believe I have one. I don't think I've ever used it. It's been a while since I've made a garment. So again, we're going to have to source the crowd. Let us know if you have a hemming foot, if you like using yours. Doreen says, rivet question, what size do you use most often? I like using 8mm rivets. I believe the post length is 6mm. I purchased my rivets from Minkus Margot on Etsy, so different shops have different descriptions in their product listing. If you're looking on Minkus Margot for the rivets, her 6mm post lengths, she calls those the regular post lengths. But yeah, 8mm rivets is what I usually use. Cheryl says, I'm working on the epicure, and in your opinion, what is the best way to finish those ends? You sewed them in the video. Do you ever use any of the other options? So both of the ones that I made, and let me pull it out so everyone else can visualize what I'm talking about. So here's the epicure pouch. On mine, you can probably see the stitches a little bit on this green one. I sewed my ends using a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, and sewing the ends is really helpful because when you open and close the pouch, that way it keeps everything kind of sucked in as far as the side seams go. If you didn't either have that top stitched or another finishing method, the ends would kind of poke out. So I've seen a lot of people stitching the ends, like I don't know if I can hold this up so you can see. I've seen a lot of people stitch the ends over here just to kind of tuck that in, and I've also seen a lot of people use rivets. So any method is completely fine. I guess it just depends on what you feel comfortable with your machine, because this area is a little bit on the thick side. But if you feel more comfortable using the rivets instead, or stitching that center of the side panel right here instead, this is a thinner set of layers. That's completely fine also. I don't think I have a preference. I feel like all 3 of those methods look equally as good. Gina says, the Kennedy bag, can you add a handle across the flap? Wanting to make a few for my dad and uncles. Handle across the flap. Oh, do you mean like instead of on the sides, a handle from the front to the back, that kind of thing? Let me know, because I wasn't sure from the question. Gloria says, how can I get the zipper tab to show on either side? I usually get on one side showing. I'm not sure what maybe I'm just tired. It's getting late over here. It's been dark for a long time today. I'm just not sure about the question, but if you either let me know in a follow-up question, or you can always email me. My email is sarah@sewsweetness.com, Sarah with no H. Anna says, what thickness of vinyl would be best for bag making? So it depends. I would say marine vinyl is on the thicker side of the vinyl scale. The faux leather or vinyl that we sell in the shop is approximately 0.6 millimeters in thickness, so that's on the thinner side of the scale. It depends on your machine and what kind of thickness your machine can deal with. And remember, if you're working with a bag, you're generally dealing with at least 2 layers of thickness with the vinyl, just because you're generally sewing things right sides together. You can always test with scrap fabric, or if you buy a small piece first before you start assembling to see what your machine can handle. My machine's okay with the marine vinyl, and I've used it before, but of course the thinner vinyl is always easier to work with. Tracy says, can you say again the Etsy shop with the zipper tabs? Oh, those decorative tabs like this one I've got here on my cotton candy pouch. This one's got a unicorn zipper pull on it. This was Trina Peterson on Etsy, and that's the name of the shop. Chris says, Sarah, did you buy your new throat plate with the large hole directly from Juki? I believe I purchased my throat plate for thick fabric for my Juki from Sew Vac Direct. Don't quote me on that because it's been a few years, but I'm like 99.9% sure that it was from Sew Vac Direct. Donna Lynn says, is there a formula to determine how to cut the fabric strip width when you don't have the hardware as indicated in a pattern for fabric and cork or leather? How to cut the fabric strip width. So if you're using different hardware, so for instance, if your pattern calls for 1.5 inch wide, say rectangle rings, and you only have 1 inch, it depends on what the pattern is telling you how to construct it. So if you're constructing kind of like double fold bias tape, if you're pressing in toward the center, opening out your fabric and then pressing in toward the center crease and then refolding, so that's 4 layers of fabric. You want to cut for 1 inch hardware, so basically you're multiplying times 4, whatever you want the finished width to be. So if you have the 1 inch hardware, you'll be cutting your strap 4 inches wide, and if you're using the 1.5 inch hardware, you're cutting 6 inches wide. If you're using cork or leather, if you're just going with 2 layers of cork or leather, so just folding it wrong sides together and then top stitching it, you'll just multiply by 2. So again, for the 1 inch rectangle, you'll have a 2 inch wide cut of fabric, and for the 1.5 inch wide, you'll have a 3 inch cut of fabric. The last other combination I can think of is if you're using cork or leather and you're folding it kind of in thirds. Again, you're just multiplying by 3. So that's kind of an easy formula to get to the width that you need. Susan said, is Pellon Sew and Foam about the same thickness as Annie's Soft and Stable that you use? So I use by Annie's Soft and Stable, which is a sew and foam. The different foam manufacturers, all of their foams are slightly different. So none of them is easier or harder to sew with. They're just a little bit different. So the Pellon Flex Foam is slightly thicker than the by Annie Soft and Stable. I feel like it's a little bit loftier, which means it's a little bit more airy. And the Bosal Inner Form, I feel, is the densest out of all the 3. So not one is better than the other. Everyone has their own personal preference. I just, I've been using the by Annie Soft and Stable for years, and that's just my personal favorite. Tam says, on the Oslo bag, is there any reason you can't use cork for the top of the pockets and around the top of the bag? I noticed in the video you only use it for the handles. I've actually seen a few people finish their Oslo craft bag using cork or leather for the kind of the binding around the top of the bag and also for the pockets. That's completely fine. I would suggest if you're going to do that, perhaps just have the 2 layers of cork instead of the 4 layers as per the pattern. So for instance, since you can leave cork or leather raw, have half of the cork on the front side and the other half wrap around to the back so that you're not dealing with so many layers. But for sure, that can definitely be done. Linda says, Sarah, I just received my machine light but didn't get any instructions with it. Do they not have instructions for installation? So actually, if you check the product listing for the LED sewing machine light, we have a video embedded there. Danny made a 9-minute video on how to install that light. It's also on the YouTube channel, so you can find it there as well. So we just wanted to make sure everyone knew the ins and outs of installing that light. It's fairly easy, but Danny walks you through every single step, including if you need to trim the light to fit a smaller throat space. Amanda says, do you have a pattern suggestion to make your own case for an embroidery arm? So I do not, but if you let me know the dimensions of your embroidery arm, I can for sure suggest something, because I have a few patterns like Crimson and Clover and Amethyst Project Bag, and maybe one of those is close enough to the size that you need for your embroidery arm. So just let me know, either in the comments or you can email me after the show. I'm writing that down. All right, so even though my birthday is tomorrow, I wanted to give a few last minute gifts away, and I haven't told Danny about this, so he's, bear with me, Danny, but I was hoping we can draw 3 random winners, or you could draw 3 winners based on the comments and put 3 names up on the screen for $80 gift certificates. So if you don't have the Minikins already and you've been waiting for them, you can use the $80 gift certificates for the Minikins, or if you already have them, you can use the gift certificates for something else. But I just wanted to give away 3 of them to 3 random winners. So sometime before the end of the show, Danny, if you want to put 3 random names up, that would be awesome.
Okay, you weren't reading that one. I skipped it because you were doing something else.
Okay. Nikki says, do you think the picnic in the park cooler will fit the Instant Pot? Use the material they make ironing board covers out of. It might very well. So this is a picnic in the park cooler. My Instant Pot is in the kitchen, but it's on the counter, so I can't grab it. And Violet's not down here to run and grab it for me. But it very well might. I'll check it out after the show. I'll let you know on Facebook in a post if it fits or not. That's a really great idea, though, Nikki. I did answer this one already, Danny. Thank you. Or I tried my best to.
Well, read it again just to make sure.
I did. I even wrote a note to myself, embroidery arm, so I could check it out after the show.
Lots of birthday wishes going through.
Oh, thank you. Do you want me to pick numbers, or how should we do this for
How about this nice thing?
The random prizes?
Forgot about.
Okay, what did we forget about? Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so Danny's suggesting this is how we're going to draw a winner for the 3 gift certificates. Just let us know in the comments. Go ahead and type either Bag Lady or Bag Dude. Danny's going to randomly draw 3 names. Maybe he can just close his eyes and point his mouse and choose the names that way. But just let us know in the comments. And I know it's my birthday tomorrow, but I wanted to give some more gifts out to you guys. So 3 $80 gift certificates to 3 random people that let us know in the comments, either Bag Lady or Bag Dude. Good idea. Thank you, Danny. That makes it a bit easier.
Good luck finding a question for a little bit.
Okay.
Talk about how bad the snow was.
Oh, yeah. So we had I don't want to call it a snowstorm because it wasn't.
Snowmageddon.
No, it wasn't that bad on the scale of snows we've ever lived through. So when our kids were little, I'm talking like toddler age, since my kids have been born, we go to visit my grandparents and now just my grandmother every week. And we're currently going on Sundays, but it used to be Thursdays before the kids started school. But the one year when the kids were really little, when we went to go visit, we actually couldn't leave. We had to spend the night, which is totally fine. They have extra beds over there, but we had to spend the night because the snow was so bad, and we actually couldn't get to the car. The snow was high. It was like several feet high. The snow we've had this week wasn't that bad. Was it maybe 1 foot, Danny?
This that we just got?
Yes.
No.
No? Okay, it wasn't even a foot. However, the temperatures started dropping as soon as the snow finished falling on the ground. And so now we've got a couple of inches of ice. And we walked the kids to school all around the school this morning, and actually the day before today also. It was quite treacherous, and I was really worried for kids because kids and adults, because walking on ice for, basically around the block, getting the kids to school, it's really dangerous. People could get really hurt. But other than that, I mean, we're fairly used to the Chicago weather. The cold doesn't bother me a whole lot. My dad's a mailman, so I know he's glad to be off work this week. But I don't know. One of those things that we just get used to living in Chicago or in the Midwest. Sheila says, do you have any advice on making a bag that keeps things warm? So there's a couple things. You can use insulated fleece, and there's other manufacturers that make insulated products as well. Another name is Insulbrite. And when you add that to your bag, you're going to add it to your lining fabric. So one side of the insulated fleece or the Insulbrite is shiny and silvery, and that's the side that reflects either heat or cold. So you want to orient that toward the wrong side of your fabric, and it's actually a sew-in interfacing, or at least I treat it as a sew-in interfacing. So you want to just machine baste it to your lining fabric. Again, the silver side against the wrong side of the lining fabric. And I find that I have better results when I don't iron on that insulated fleece or Insulbright. I've done it in the past, and the iron tends to make it warped a little bit and wavy. So I just treat it as a sew-in, and when it comes to pressing, I just try my best to finger press instead, just to keep that insulated fleece intact. Aleli says, any patterns to recommend for a sewing machine cover, and how about a fabric caddy thing that you put on your sewing machine table to catch thread? Those are great ideas. I wasn't thinking of it till just now when you recommended it, but it would really be really cool to have like a small bundle of sewing room related patterns, like the cover. I'm writing this down so I don't forget, and a thread catcher and other things. That would be really cute. I'll keep that in mind. Great idea. Thank you. Kathy says, Sarah, do you clean out the lint and oil the machine on the underside of your Juki, that little compartment? How often? So if you're talking about where the bobbin is, because the Juki has a side loading bobbin, I clean out the lint every once in a while with a pipe cleaner. And then also periodically I do oil I don't want to call it a spinny thing, but when you take your bobbin casing out, there's sort of a circular piece of metal. I put 1 drop of oil over there periodically. My sewing machine technician suggested that I do that last time I took my machine in, so I started doing that in the last year to year and a half. And then I oil all the usual places where the openings are for inserting the oil to. Carla says, would you design a lunch bag that is large enough for adult-sized lunches and has a zipper closure? Many do not fit the large metal water bottles. Oh, that's a good idea. I didn't even consider having the water bottle in the lunch bag. Let me write myself another note for that. Lunch bag, water bottles. Thank you. Linda says, do you have a pattern for sewing machine feet? I do not yet. It is on my list. However, maybe a month or two ago on Social Sunday, I did do a demonstration for how to add clear vinyl sleeves for packets of needles, which you could also do the same thing for your sewing machine feet. And that was adding that to, I was suggesting to add it to the Creative Maker supply case, but you could really add it to any bag. And that should be on the YouTube channel. So if you just do a search on my YouTube channel for needle sleeve, that video will pop up. And it was toward the end of that particular Social Sunday show. I do have it on my list, though, to make a full-out pattern for a particular project with those clear vinyl sleeves. I just have not gotten to that yet. Gail says, how about the essential oil bag with insert for machine feet? Oh, that's a really good idea. I think I have my essential oil bag here. So this is the bag she's talking about, and I wonder if you could even use the foam insert for the sewing machine feet, or if it would be too big. I use mine for my essential oils, but I wonder if you could even just put the sewing machine feet in the openings. I had not thought of that. Something to consider. Phyllis says, an embroidery caddy for storing stabilizer would be great too. Oh yeah, I have had that request before too, because there's so many different stabilizers that people use for embroidery. I'll write myself a note. That's a good one too. Oh, I missed Carol. I think I missed Carol's comments or question. Would you mind? Yeah, that's it. Carol says, add a tool holster to the kit. Can Velcro it under the table edge. That's a really good idea too. Velcro. Kim says, do you have a pattern for a trash caddy for the car? I don't. Actually, that was one of our, well, not exactly, sort of. That was one of our votes earlier this year for the bonus pattern for the Minikins. So it was a vote between the backseat car organizer that goes around the headrest of the passenger seat, or the cooler, which won the vote with that cooler that I held up earlier. And what was the third one, Danny? Do you remember?
Organizer for the car.
Oh, the fanny pack was the third one.
Yeah.
But I would still like to do that organizer, because I felt like I would personally use it. Rolanda says, a convertible mat or a cover for your machine. Got it. Sonia says, how often do you take your machine in for professional cleaning and inspecting? So you might have a different opinion, but my personal opinion is every year to year and a half, especially if you're using your machine a lot. The reason I'm sort of veering toward every year, a few years ago when I took my sewing machine in, the technician remarked when I went to go pick it up, he's like, wow, you must use your machine a lot. And the reason that I brought the machine in at the time was because I don't think anybody else would notice this, but I noticed when I was sewing, every 5 stitches or so, I'd get one stitch that was slightly wonky. And like I said, nobody else would be able to tell this but me, but since it's my baby, like I know when things are a little bit different. And he said that because I use the machine so much, normally the area that I clean for lint is kind of where my bobbin casing is because I have a side loading bobbin. He said I used it so much that it was pushing the lint toward where my top thread is, like up into the machine. And all the congestion from the lint was causing that one little funny stitch every 5 stitches. And so that's why I'm kind of veering toward taking it in every year. I know it's an expense, but I feel like especially, you know, I'm using my sewing machine for my income, and a lot of you I know out there are as well, or just to keep the machine in good working order. It's always good to take it in every year to year and a half and catch a potential problem before it happens rather than have something go really, really wrong and when it could have been caught earlier. So that's my advice, taking your machine in every year to year and a half. Lisa says, what are the chances you can design a fanny pack? Not a 1980s fanny pack, but a cute, fun one. I've had so many requests. So I did design one a few years ago. I'd like to revisit it and design a completely different one, but the one that I have out right now is called the Beatnik waist bag. Shirley says, do you ever wake up in the middle of the night with a new idea for a pattern? Constantly. And it's a huge problem. It hasn't happened in a while, but I'm sure it will soon, especially now that I've got this great list of all the suggestions everyone's given me tonight. And especially that suggestion with all the sewing patterns for the sewing room, that's very interesting to me. July says, do you have a mega makeup bag? My daughter is a makeup junkie. So a couple things. Let me check if they're in the sewing room right now, currently. All right, so there's a couple ideas, and these are both from Minikin Season 2. So this one I use for sewing supplies, but this is the Kanga supply roll, and they're kind of 3-dimensional pockets, so they fit more in them. As you can see, my rotary cutter is in one of the pockets. The second pattern that might be useful is the Gloss Cosmetic bag. And again, I've got sewing room paraphernalia in mine, but it was initially designed for cosmetics or shampoos or hairsprays or what have you. So this is mine. I've got my flatter spray and sewing pens, but obviously you can probably visualize makeups and hairsprays and other things in the bag instead. Let's close this little guy up. All right, what do you think about choosing the 3 names right now?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll pick a random page.
Okay.
The first person at the top of the random page will be the winner, okay?
Okay, that sounds pretty random.
Well, you can pick the number since it's your birthday. How about we'll do your birthday date?
Okay.
Top of the page.
Okay, page number 28. Top of the page is Shannon Ketchum. So congratulations, Shannon. You're winner number 1 for the $80 gift certificate. If you're still... Yep, Shannon Ketchum. If you're still watching, please feel free to email me after the show. It's Sara@sewsweetness.com, and Sara with no H. All right, so you want to pick another one?
Your birth year.
Okay. Sheila Murdoch was the second winner. Congratulations, Sheila. And again, these are totally random. Danny's just going...
You want to do your birth month?
Sure. We have our software filters all of the comments from both YouTube and Facebook, and he's just going off 3 separate pages, the first person on each page. So Christine Wolf. Wait, I thought we were going to do a bag lady or bag dude comment.
Well, I just picked random.
You're just picking any random comment? Okay,
pages, yeah.
That's completely fine. We'll go with that. Christine Wolf is the third winner, so congratulations, Christine. Congratulations, all 3 of you. Please do email me, and I'll get you your $80 gift certificate, so congratulations. All right. Did you see any more juicy questions coming through, or?
There was a couple.
Okay. All right. Danny's just going to scan through and find those other...
Yeah, someone said the Kanga bag, but you're the one you're showing it for the feet. You can insert the feet in there.
Oh, yeah. Cheryl says the Kanga would be great for feet. I actually, up until a few weeks ago, I had feet in one of mine. Michelle says, Sarah, what brand of oil do you buy for your Juki, and do you ever find oil seeps out down where the base of the machine connects to where the parts for the dials cutter are? Yes. Okay, so I was previously oiling my Juki every other day, and so multiple times. No, actually, I was oiling it just about every time I used it. And when I took it in, not the last time, the time before that, the sewing machine technician said I was oiling it too often. And he said he could tell that because of the oil dripping down, exactly what you're saying right there. So I'm oiling less, and I don't sew as much as I used to. So right now I'm oiling about twice a week. So if you're finding that, especially if it's starting to turn yellow from the oil, you might be oiling a little too often. Or at least that's what my technician said.
Sorry to deal with the inappropriate.
Oh, no, that's okay. That's completely fine. So I don't know if my parents are watching the show, which they might because they watch most of the shows. I had my riding lesson this morning because I have it every Tuesday. And I didn't see them I didn't know they were coming. I didn't see them for the lesson. They came to my lesson last week. But I saw them when I was finishing up, when I was putting the saddle away. And I'm convinced that they came to the lesson just so they could play with the dog. So my trainer has an Australian Shepherd, which is the kind of dog my parents have as well. And it seems like the last couple times they came for my lesson, they were spending more time with the dog and not watching my lesson. So I got a little bit jealous of the dog, but he's really beautiful. He's a Blue Merle Australian Shepherd, and his name is Arrow, so that's my trainer's dog. Yeah, but they were spending some quality time with Arrow this morning. Aleli says, what's a great place to buy pre-made bias tape? So, oh, let me grab my pre-made that I've purchased. Hang on one second. So I've got these pre-made bias tapes from Vintage Door, and they sell these. Let me hold it back so it's not blurry. They sell these. I have polka dots. I have some florals too, and they've got some crochet on the top. I don't know if you can see it, but this white is like little crocheted looking lace. So Vintage Door, this is some really cute pre-made. Otherwise, Joann's has some, decent solid colors of pre-made double fold bias tape. But it's really easy to make your own too, and in recent years I've been making my own so that I can match it to my fabric, but this Vintage Door stuff is pretty cute. Julie says, any chance for a video with tips on how to map out your fabric to minimize when not fussy cutting? That's a good idea. I've done other similar videos before, but not exactly on this topic, so let me write myself a note. Being frugal with fabric. All right. All right, we'll get to that shortly on a future Social Sunday, because that sounds interesting. I'm all about being frugal and using the least amount of fabric possible, and that's pretty easy to do, especially if you're not fussy cutting. Okay. Any other troubles over there? Danny said he needed to kick somebody out, so... Manalia says, Sarah, if I make a Metro zip pouch in cork, do I need to place foam? I could go either way with that. If you're making the small, I'd probably skip the foam just because the small is a tighter working space. But the large size of the Metro double zip pouch, I could go either way. That's a good one. I'd probably use the foam for the large, but I think it'll look just as nice without it too, and a little bit easier. Jane says, have you made a purse out of Minky? I actually have not, although I was in Target recently and I saw some purses in Target that looked like puffer coats, which I thought was really interesting. I'm not sure, the puffer coat purse is not exactly my style, but I thought it was interesting that they're taking other garment looks and incorporating it into a purse. So a Minky purse does sound very interesting though, and also nice and soft.
Sarah, read this one.
Okay. Oh, that's really nice. Yeah, sure. I thought he was gonna tell me to read something offensive to make sure it was okay to ask, but no, this is not offensive at all. Pam wants to draw contribute to a fourth winner. So,
Why does she pick a number 1 through 100, and I'll use the top number on that page?
Okay, Pam, if you could comment again with a number 1 through 100, and Danny's going to go through, because we have just about 1 through 100 pages of comments, and pick the top comment on that page. So just go ahead and type in the comments one number, 1 through 100. And he'll watch for that comment, and he'll put it up on the screen in a minute. Mary Lee says, have you considered fabric cutting layouts in your patterns? I actually have. I've thought about it in the past, and I've gotten requests for it in the past, but it's sometimes tricky, especially with fussy cutting. And my main thing, especially when I'm using large scale prints, is fussy cutting. And the fabric layouts don't always work with that, but I think I'm going to move that discussion on being frugal with cutting fabric up to this Sunday. So I'll talk about that this Sunday, and I'll talk about how I lay out fabric for cutting out pattern pieces to get the most out of your fabric. So we'll talk about that this Sunday. Hopefully that'll help. Okay, I see Pam's left a number in the comments. Pam is choosing page number 78. So Danny's going to choose a fourth winner, so a fourth $80 gift certificate. Thank you, Pam. That's very generous of you. That's a wonderful gift. And number 70, the comment on page number 78, the top of the page, is Michelle Bates Kendall. So congratulations. Michelle, please email me also after the show. It's Sara@sosweetness.com, and that's Sara with no H. Awesome. I love giving out gifts for my birthday.
There's a lot of people putting random numbers in for some reason. Trying to confuse me.
Kyla says, would you ever consider a So Sweetness convention? Oh, that's cool. That's a cool idea. Everybody can come and we can show off our bags, have a bag fashion show. That would be really awesome. That sounds like a lot of fun. Danny's cutting off the comments. All right. So thank you so much for joining us for Ask Sara. Had lots of fun today. Looking forward to my pizza dinner tomorrow for my birthday. Anyway, I hope you have a great week. I can't believe it's going to be December 1st already on Saturday. Where has the time gone? I'm almost done with my Christmas shopping, so that makes me really happy. Anyway, I'll see you this Sunday. We'll talk about how to be frugal with cutting out fabric. I hope you have a great week, and happy sewing. Bye, everybody.